Suma's POV.
Jake? I asked, concerned that he had not spoken for a moment.
Sorry, I was just... Are ghosts real here?
He asked suddenly. What? Ghosts? I do not... Why?
I think I just met one, he said.
By the dragons, my mother muttered. She was not religious, but did have a healthy respect for some Ashidama values. One of which was to be wary of ghosts, since they were signs of death magic being used.
So, ghosts are real here?
Jake asked, his eyes widening. Yes, but why do you think you have met one? Was it during the summoning?
Yeah, I felt something watching me. At first, I thought it was... him, he said, glancing at my mother, since we had neglected to tell her about danger by order of Her Majesty the Queen. My mother was preoccupied, however, saying a prayer that she probably learned from a nun when she was young, and casting a spell to Asham to ward against ghosts. I don't really know how to explain it. According to the church, ghosts can only last for a few hours before they disappear, and no one besides you is capable of even performing such a spell. At least not anymore, and before Harbinger, not for centuries, maybe longer, I explained, trying to reason everything out. So, not a ghost? Jake asked. Right. You don't sound very sure.
She is not, Mother said. We were interrupted with a scratching on the outer wall of our room. Come in, I announced, but there was no answer, and no one entered. Fluttering to the wall, I cast a spell, and opened a hole large enough to fly through comfortably. But rather than a Nume, a large black and red furred shadowhound leapt through and landed inside the room, frightening all of us.
What the?
Jake shouted, and summoned his metal garment, his armor, Jericho, as well as his sword, Mori.
Suma, back up!
On its neck, I spotted a metal ring, with the symbol of the royal family engraved on the side. Jake, wait! This is a familiar!
He looked the beast over for a moment, realized that it had not taken an offensive posture, and sent his weapon away, but not his armor. It's a gigantic black wolf with completely black eyes and red go faster stripes on his mouth that look like bloodstains. Forgive me for freaking out a bit.
What does it want? Mother, who in a panic had perched herself on the other side of the room as high as she could, asked.
Probably waffle fries,
Jake answered sarcastically. Jake, if this beast kills us, I would prefer the last thing I hear to not be a joke, especially when I do not even understand.
Should I tell knock-knock jokes instead, just to be safe?
The hound's eyes began to glow, and it lowered its head while opening its mouth. A small wooden tablet with runes engraved on the flats dropped out of its mouth, and a voice started to speak. Greetings, Lady Suma and her familiar, Sentinel. Your request for an audience with Queen Ompera has been approved. Please follow this familiar. It will guide you into the palace. A voice from nowhere said.
Ah, a voice recording. Neat,
Jake said, just as the eyes of the familiar stopped glowing. The hound turned back to the hole in the wall and looked back at us expectantly. We were to follow it, immediately, it would seem. I widened the hole for Jake and he walked out. We tried to leave Jake at the stable, but the hound refused to move unless he followed as well. As Jake walked behind the hound, we rode on him. Jake, I started, the next time we think our lives may be in danger, and you tell a joke to ease our tension, could it please be one I can laugh at as well?
Suma, I'm in my early 20s and British. All of my jokes are centered around memes and sarcasm. If those aren't funny to you, we're both out of luck because that's all I have.
What is a meme? My mother asked, and Jake spent the rest of our journey trying, and eventually failing to explain the concept to her.